The Wells Fargo Express office in Cisco, California, around 1870, served as a vital hub for mail and gold transport during the gold rush. Cisco was later submerged under Lake McClure. Ron Dante was the real voice behind the fictional 1960s cartoon band, the Arkies, whose hit Sugar topped charts worldwide, despite the band not existing in real life. Isidore Lavictoire, a French-Canadian dairy farmer near Rutland, Vermont, works with his children to gather hay in August 1941. Vermont had the highest percentage of French-Canadian immigrants of any U.S. state by 1940. Shopping for groceries in Blankenship, Indiana, in 1938, customers paid with cash or trade as the town had no bank. Many items cost under 10 cents. Princess Elizabeth and Prince Philip attended a hoedown in Ottawa on October 11, 1951, where they tried square dancing with local performers. The event marked one of Elizabeth's last public appearances before becoming queen. Sean Connery and Claudine Auger on set of Thunderball in 1965. The film's underwater scenes required over 100 divers and 1,500 hours of diving time. People walk outside Leon's municipal jail in Mexico, built between 1899 and 1902. The jail was designed with advanced ventilation systems for its time. Budapest streets bustle with 1970s traffic, a rare sight given that most Hungarians couldn't afford cars under communist rule. A bunk car for Santa Fe Railroad section workers near Clovis, New Mexico, circa 1943, provided mobile housing for laborers maintaining the tracks, who often worked 12-hour shifts 7 days a week. Chess legend Bobby Fischer headed to a 1972 championship game in Reykjavik, Iceland, where he became the first American world chess champion. A woman searches for connection in 1970s New York. The film, Looking for Mr. Goodbar, was inspired by the 1973 murder of Roseanne Quinn, a schoolteacher. The RMS Titanic neared completion at Harland and Wolff in Belfast in 1911, where over 3,000 workers helped build the doomed ship. Consuelo Vanderbilt, Duchess of Marlborough, photographed on August 9, 1902, was a prominent American heiress in the Gilded Age who helped fund Blenheim Palace's restoration. A panoramic view of the 1890s New York Post Office, demolished in 1939, with Harlem Line horse-drawn streetcars on Broadway. The line began operating in 1832 using stone tracks. A Kleino motorcycle with a wicker sidecar carries passengers and a dog, likely in Christchurch around 1920. Kleino, a British manufacturer, once supplied over 30,000 motorcycles to Allied forces in World War I. In June 1942, Mrs. Weigel of Knox County, Tennessee, used an electric vacuum thanks to TVA bringing power to rural farms, which increased local farm productivity by over 40% within a decade. Crowds packed Coney Island in early 1900s. Brooklyn, drawn by attractions like the famous 1903 roller coaster, the Cyclone, which opened a decade later. Beach fashion has evolved dramatically since 1905, when modest wool swimwear was standard at Asbury Park's boardwalk. Women wore full-length dresses with stockings, and strict decency laws enforced coverage. Clint Eastwood looked sharp in 1960, years before becoming a Hollywood legend, with Dirty Harry. He was actually a struggling actor working as a lumberjack to survive. New York, 1955. Max Hoffman's showroom at 430 Park Avenue featured a motorized turntable to display luxury cars, a novelty that drew crowds eager to see vehicles like the BMW 507, which Hoffman helped bring to America. A view of Public Square in Cleveland, Ohio from September 1903. The square has served as the city's central gathering place since 1796. City Market in Kansas City, Missouri, around 1906, featured bustling stalls and horse-drawn wagons. It has operated since 1857, making it one of the oldest continuously running public markets in the U.S. L'Olivier and his driver began the 1908 New York to Paris race in a Werner car, facing frozen trails and uncharted terrain across 2 continents. This race was the first around the world, covering over 13,000 miles through extreme conditions few automobiles had ever encountered. The Bureau of Identification, precursor to the FBI, handled early 20th century criminal investigations from Washington, D.C. in 1925, and by 1930 it had cataloged over 20 million fingerprint records. An ambrotype portrait of a 19th century laborer from the 1860s shows a working-class man in period clothing. Ambrotypes were fragile glass negatives made using the wet plate collodion process. Sunset Boulevard in Hollywood circa 1905 was a dusty country road before the film industry arrived in 1911. A young Ute warrior stands with his dog in Utah's Uintah Valley in 1873. The Ute people have inhabited the region for over 10,000 years. The Garden City Brewery in Mineral Point, Wisconsin, built in 1854 and photographed by 1860, was one of the state's earliest breweries, reflecting the town's booming lead mining economy. Marine Sergeant Frank Prater fed an orphaned kitten during the Korean War in 1952 and adopted it after its mother died. He smuggled the cat back to the U.S. in his duffel bag. Federal taxicabs at a 13th Street garage served Washington, D.C.'s Union Station in 1914, when the city's transit system was racially segregated. Pittsburgh in June 1941 was a bustling industrial hub producing steel for World War II efforts. The city's factories operated 24/7, contributing over 90% of the steel used in Allied ships. Pete Hot Tamale. Pete the Garso sold tamales from his wagon outside the Greenville, Texas post office in the early 1900s, offering a dozen for 10 cents or 3 dozen for 25 cents. Tamales were a popular street food among Black and Mexican American communities during this era. Graduation ceremonies in the late 1890s were formal events, often held in churches or school halls, and women made up nearly half of college graduates by 1890. In March 1944, hundreds of pin-up girl photos covered the walls of a bomber crew shack on Adak Island, Alaska, boosting morale during World War II. Many of these images were sent by fans through USO programs. A quiet downtown St. Louis street on a Sunday morning in May 1940, when the city's population peaked at over 800,000 people.